Welcome to this remote control quick tip. In this quick tip we're going to be looking at what degrees of freedom mean. Now I've had this as a request from a couple of subscribers, so I need to say a very big thank you to those who have asked for it. So there is also another video on the channel that explains and contrasts the flight controllers that we've been playing with here on the Painless 360 channel, but one of the things that we didn't cover in that video was degrees of freedom. So we're quickly going to cover it now. So for those of you that are confused about what DOF is and how it is different between different boards, we'll try and cover that now. So let's do this in a couple of slides and we can cover this quite quickly, because once you understand what DOF is, it's relatively straightforward. DOF stands for degrees of freedom, and it's really a shorthand way to understand how sophisticated a flight controller is and how many sensors it has and in what directions those sensors work. So the most basic boards that you would ever see would have 3 DOF, or 3 degrees of freedom. Now what that actually means is that it can sense in 3 orientation, so the X, Y and Z axis, so side to side, front to back and up and down as well, and it typically only either would have a 3-axis gyroscope which can sense turning movement, or a 3-axis accelerometer which can detect side to side movement. And again, a 3 DOF either means it has either a 3-axis gyro or a 3-axis accelerometer. That's where that number 3 is coming from. So very few boards have this. However, you can buy external sensors that you can add to other boards, like an external compass, which is essentially a 3 DOF board, because that external compass is only working in 3 orientations with 1 sensor, so that's 3 DOF. So in reality you won't come across 3 DOF much, but we're including it here for completeness. The next piece then is 6 DOF. Now 6 DOF is the same as 3 DOF, but you actually get both a 3-axis gyroscope and a 3-axis accelerometer. Now there are an awful lot of flight controllers out there that have 6 DOF. So things like the KISS flight controllers, the basic CC3D, the basic Nazi32, KK2.X boards, basic multi-Wiis as well. So there's an awful lot out there, and these are great for basic flying. The next one then is our friend 9 DOF. Now 9 DOF normally means that you have everything that a 6 DOF board would have, i.e. you have that 3-axis gyroscope, you have a 3-axis accelerometer, and then you have a 3-axis magnetometer too. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, and that's typically what 9 degrees of freedom is talking about. Now there are some flight controllers out there that have this on, but the majority also include 1 additional sensor as well, which takes us up to 10 DOF. And 10 DOF is typically your 3-axis gyroscope, your 3-axis accelerometer, a 3-axis magnetometer or compass, and also a barometer sensor too. And there are loads of really good 10 DOF flight controllers, things like the APMs, the Pixhawks, the Pixracer, the STM-F3 based flight controllers. Loads and loads of stuff had this. Now if down the side we put a little graphic here about what each of them can be used for, so 3 DOF is really basic stabilization for a multi-rotor. Like I say, you won't really come across them. Occasionally you'll come across them as simple flight stabilization electronics for things like fixed wing. Then you have 6 DOF, whereas that's your standard stabilization. A lot of people race and fly with boards that are only 6 DOF capable. They don't need the magnetometer and they don't need the GPS. Then you have 9 degrees of freedom, which includes a magnetometer. Magnetometers can be handy to do things like take care of drift in the yaw. So if it is turning gently in the air, a magnetometer can be a really cool way for the board to sense that's happening and use that compass heading to make sure that it's correcting for any slight drift that you may have either left or right. And then the last one, the 10 DOF boards, if the software is up to it, are the ones that provide advanced stabilization and also have the ability to add GPS as well. Now to fly a board with a GPS flight mode, you definitely need to have a 9 DOF board, because the GPS needs to work with a very well calibrated magnetometer in order for it to work. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, then we have another video that I'll link to here at the top that talks about why that is. But if you have something like a 10 DOF board, like one of the APM's Pixhawks or something else, or one of the really advanced multi-Wii boards, then you can normally add a GPS and get GPS flight modes. So if you have a board that isn't 9 or 10 DOF and you're looking for GPS flight modes, you aren't going to get them. So hopefully that helps those of you that are trying to figure out what DOF means. Now, when you're looking at that, if you see something that says it's 6 DOF, when you look down at the details of the sensors on board, you'll probably find it has two. One will be an accelerometer, the other one will be a gyroscope. And if you're looking at something like a 10 DOF board, you'll probably find those two sensors plus a 3-axis magnetometer, and you'll usually find a barometer on there too. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.